Welcome to Remote Access for the Schulman Foundation Telescope. In this section, I'd like to demonstrate some of the features of the interface that you're going to be working with. The interface is very simple. This is a web page, and the first thing I'd like to mention is that you don't need to press the back arrow of your browser. I'm not even showing you my browser controls because you don't really need to use them. Everything is contained within the page. You can open and close little micro content window-like things and make your way around in this interface. This screen, for example, is a little window that you can open or close. When you put your cursor here near the top of it, you'll find that you get some controls at the top right. For example, you can close the window. Now, closing any little micro content like window in no way does it harm or stop a process or anything like that. You can just open it again if you wish. Now, that is not the most interesting window to observe, however. Under Live Observing, the System Status display, this is probably one of the interesting ones, and perhaps secondly, the Sky Center Observatory Live. It will open yet another little window, and we can see not only the conditions of the sky, which are not great at the moment, it's partly cloudy, but also see the webcam that's inside the observatory. It may take it a moment to load, and if it doesn't, you can always hit the little refresh button down here at the bottom to force the window to refresh and show you the live view. And there we have the view of the telescope kind of just looking out at clouds. There is kind of a special behavior for the system status window. It likes to be at the top, and all other windows will load beneath. However, if that one is closed, and we open up some other little window, you'll notice that it will go on top. And then you can open many, many little windows. If you ever feel that it is just too much for you, you can always do close all others, and it'll close everything else except for the one thing that you happen to be looking at. Close it and just reopen the system status, and that's really it. You can also fold them, which leaves them available, but in a smaller state, so that you can just go back to them as you please by unfolding them. My recommendation is to have the system status up because it shows you all of the telemetry concerning the telescope, and perhaps always have here the Sky Center Observatory Live so that when, for example, you move the telescope, you can monitor what happens in the observatory. There are two cameras. There's the south-facing camera, which is what we're looking at. There is also, if you click, it'll open in a new little window, the north-facing camera, so you can see that direction towards the telescope as well. And then there's an all-sky camera. Now, there are many other features, and these will be explained in yet another video concerning just the use of the system in general. But as far as the user interface is concerned, if you are concerned that the information that you're looking at is not fresh, if for some reason something appears stuck and not updating, you can certainly refresh the page. That won't do any harm at all. It'll just ask the web server at the observatory to just re-download all of this information. I'll do that. I'm going to refresh. And it, of course, will put the welcome screen back up first. I can just close it and then reopen the system status and continue to go from there. Some of these micro content areas have little buttons. For example, here is a help button. If you click on it, it may give more information that is somewhat useful. Also, when you put your cursor over some items, you may find that there's a little flyout bit of information that might be descriptive as well. And that's about it. That's really all you need to know to operate in this space. Though there is one more thing that I think is just kind of fun to do. We've only been talking here for just a few moments. How hard would it be to begin to use the telescope? The answer is not hard at all. You can simply go to the next item on the list here, which is to take a single image. Type in something that you'd like to take a picture of, perhaps an object such as M42. I just got the coordinates to it, and it is in the sky. If we look again at the all-sky view, you can see that Orion is here, and perhaps not quite totally clouded out. The position angle will be north up for 0. Duration, let's take a 60-second exposure, perhaps through the red filter. We'll do a binning of 2, and we will need the telescope to be focused. That's it. That's all I have to do. All I need to do now is hit Acquire Images, and the telescope will go do its thing. If you come back up to the system status and you hit the Show Hide Run log, you'll see the information about what the system is currently doing. At the moment, it's basically just waking up, turning on the tracking, and continuing to evaluate the little instructions that we gave it. Here we can see the telescope has moved into position to take a picture of the Orion Nebula. It'll begin to do all the machinations of rotating the instrument rotator, focusing the telescope, and then finally taking that 60-second exposure. It's now taking a quick exposure just to figure out where it's pointing. And now it's doing the autofocus. You'll notice that it's blinking here. It's just completing the autofocus. It succeeded in doing so, and it actually moved to a nearby bright star. So now it will slew back to the intended object of M42 and take our 60-second exposure through the red filter. So initially, having turned the telescope on, the pointing error is small at 1 arc minute. It tells us the focal length and everything that we might be interested to know. Here is the template for the name of the object, M42. It tells us the repeat and the count number, as well as the position angle and, of course, the color filter that was used. You can see the progression of the exposure. Because this is a short exposure, of course, we're not guiding. We will just simply get the picture at the end of the exposure time. And that's it. The exposure is complete. The image is finished. And here is a preview of that 60-second exposure that we took through the Schulman Foundation telescope. So this system is easy to use. It's easy to navigate around. And in order to get started, all you have to do is fill out one form and press go. I hope you have a great time using the telescope, clear skies, and good luck.